Oh, I'll start with the hi everyone. I'll start with saying hello. Um, I'll start with a plug. I've got a joint meeting with Nico next Friday that I'll put on my website, and also today I put on the details of in a month's time, 12th and 13th of October. I'm going to Berlin to do a weekend. Um, so if you fancy a trip to Berlin, all the details are on the website, timclissthis.com. Maybe I need to change that. Seemed really clever at the time. You know how you have a good idea and then in retrospect, only when you think about it, you go, is it too cheesy? Just because it rhymes?
You could have had Cliss this, baby.
I don't want you coming up with worse, Darren. I'll go on then.
Cliss this, baby.
Yeah, that is worse.
It is. Oh dear.
I use the word illusion quite a lot, as do most speakers about this. And I think it's a misleading word, but I still use it because language is so limited. Because as soon as you use the word illusion, the question is likely to come, so what is illusory? And with that comes the question, so what is real? And there isn't an answer. And you, most likely, like me, wanted an answer to that question. So I could say this is real, but whatever I say about it is illusory. And then we've really got nowhere, have we? And so quite often I think it's much better not to speak about this at all. And then the question comes, so why speak about it? Well, there's nothing else. The illusion is that there is something else, that there's anything else, even that there's nothing else. So if non-duality is saying anything, which is not, it's just pointing pathetically and inadequately to the simple, outrageously too simple obviousness that this is all there is. And it will do you no good whatsoever to ask the question, so what is this? Because there isn't anything outside of this. There isn't anything else. There is nothing outside. And of course, if there's nothing outside, there's nothing inside. Outside exists only with the conviction of inside. And you, what you've called yourself, what you felt yourself to be, is this illusory insideness. I'm inside. Everything that's not me is outside. There is no inside and outside. And what is this? This is what seems to be happening. So what seems to be happening isn't happening to you. You are not the witness of what seems to be happening. You are not the observer of what seems to be happening. There really is no location of what seems to be happening. You can tell a story of location, but what's happening over there and what's happening here aren't two. There's no separation. You can't find where anything is happening. You can't even say it's all happening in the same place. There's simply no location. And be careful who you say that to. It sounds crazy to most people. And I have no idea how, but it can just be that all location is seen to be illusory. And yet the ability to locate things in time and space still appears to happen, just the same as ever it did. It's just not believed. It has no substance. It's a story that makes sense of what essentially no one can make sense of. So we're trying to make sense of this mystery. This being alive, this aliveness. You won't find the aliveness. There is only aliveness. If you find the aliveness, immediately you've stepped apart from it, which again is illusory. There's no one apart from anything. This really doesn't have any parts. And again, paradoxically, you can still locate and identify and discriminate between parts. So there aren't any things, but you haven't forgotten the names of other things, and there's still the ability to name them and talk about the relationships between objects. I've no idea how. I've no idea. And it can sound, and it used to sound to me when anyone spoke about this, well, they must be seeing the world in a completely different way. No, not at all. Everything appears as it appears to be. And don't kid yourself that you can know how it is for another human being, how the world appears to them. They can attempt to tell you, but it's a futile attempt. So one of the things that feels very loving is that I know I can't understand. I can't get how the world appears to you. The aloneness of this is undeniable. And it might sound very paradoxical, but when it's undeniable that you can never know another, you can never know another's world, because there really aren't any others. Whatever you think of others is simply, it's all imagined. And those with a very good imagination and very sympathetic imagination, we call empathic. But an empath is kidding herself or himself if he actually thinks that he knows another's feelings. There is no knowing of that. If you don't know yourself, you'll never pretend that you know another. And you'll never believe another when they say they know you. You don't have to tell them that, of course, but you won't believe it. So there's no getting away from the inescapable aloneness. Which can feel devastating to the one who always wanted to connect, to not feel lonely. I say aloneness because, and I don't say lonely, because if there is no possibility of knowing another, then there's no loneliness. Loneliness only exists, only seems to appear when there's this illusion that you could know another and you could be at one with another. Well, it's not possible. There are no cells to become one with each other. So I'm not surprised that this isn't popular. So that's the bad news. But that is the good news. There's nowhere to go. You can put all your escape plans to one side. They're fucking worthless. Where on earth would you escape to when there's nowhere else and there's no one who could escape? So all fantasies of becoming, because becoming is escaping. I'll escape from how I am right now to somewhere where I'm happier, where I'm more fulfilled, where I'm more at peace. Well, there isn't another time or place. You could say there isn't even this time or place. that might be going a step too far. But the peace that does pass all understanding, because you won't have a fucking clue why there is this peace, is because there's nowhere to go and nothing to be done. That doesn't mean they can't be going places and doing shit, seemingly. But all of that is unmoving. And if you think I've made sense of this just because I can waffle on about it, that's not true. There's no making sense of it whatsoever. This doesn't make sense. And the end of trying to make sense of life, the end of trying to understand, is the peace. But I wouldn't, you can't do anything about it, but don't kid yourself that you want that, because self doesn't want that. If you want something, it's always something else. Wanting is not this. Now, I'm not saying wanting won't still happen. Desire is totally natural. But there's a difference between wanting some food or wanting a hug or wanting to be warm than wanting to be enlightened. Wanting to be free. So no escape sounds negative, but of course there's no one in prison to escape. So the good news is the bad news. There's no one inside to go anywhere. There's no one to become at one with, whatever you fantasize that you might become at one with, whether it's a human being or nature or God. And so there are beautiful stories of oneness, you know, of becoming at one. But I don't speak of oneness because this is empty. And there can't be one emptiness. Emptiness doesn't have any boundary to it. So not even one. Well, that was all a bit gloomy. I think it's the jet lag. I'm blaming it on the jet lag. There is a thing about emptiness. Emptiness sounds, I mean, it's abhorrent. I was always terrified of the dark, of nothing. There's nothing more terrifying than nothing to self. I'd rather there be monsters. That's why I filled the emptiness with monsters as a kid. When I was lying in bed at night and there was the darkness and I couldn't see and there was just emptiness, I would much rather fill it with, you know, hands crawling up the edge of the bed to grab my feet, isn't it? I'd fill it with all kinds of shit just so I wasn't alone. I don't doubt that most neurotic fear is just this aloneness, which is totally natural. And the wonder is that nothing is nothing to fear. Absolutely. There is nothing in nothing. It's not dangerous. Quite the opposite. But it is nothing.
Jazz has the hand up.
Hi, Jazz.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, not too bad.
You speaking about the aloneness is
Yeah, I'm just my body doesn't cope well with the. My body wants to be wide awake in the middle of the night and then sleeping during the day.
yeah, the jet lag is big. I'm a bit all over the place, but you speaking about the aloneness is so terrifying. It feels like human nature. We all want to connect. We
Yeah.
all want to
Mm-hmm.
we all want to be with each other and family and eat dinners
Yeah.
and then you're talking about like the deepest, the most utter death, just just death being alive, like it's weird, like
Yeah. And it may well, for self, it may feel like death. Yeah. Because it is the death of the possibility of becoming at one with another. That because self will hear this as, you can't tell me that I can never connect with another, because then the loneliness will be just devastating. It'll be dreadful.
even though connection has been lost for a long time, the aloneness of I don't know, the aloneness, I guess, of ever getting that lover, or like I think I've been a hopeless romantic all my life, and there was always this like fantasy of loving another and them loving me, and it's just like crumbling so hard right now, and it's just so seen as like some sort of fantasy, like a seeking to get somewhere, like
Yeah.
it's just another seeking mechanism, whether it's enlightenment or a lover or drugs or
Mm-hmm.
but whatever it is, a car, whatever. But I guess mine, there's always been this lover that I've wanted.
Yeah. Well, you're not
It's,
alone in that, Jazz.
I don't think a lot of teachers they talk about enlightenment because sometimes God becomes your lover, you know, um, but I don't think enough teachers speak about that love that this illusionary self wants.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going through something right now, but it's so deep. It is so
Mm-hmm.
like, wow. Like I am, there's a huge story about this person.
Well, the
And it's,
thing, there's for self, because self feels incomplete. Because the thing about the aloneness, when I say aloneness, may sound very terribly negative. I understand that, but the aloneness is that when I could equally use the word complete or whole, because there isn't anything outside. And for me, who was seeking completion by getting the perfect lover, the perfect one to complete me, to make me whole. I mean, that you could say that's where that's the most common form of seeking in romantic relationships. And I mean, no wonder they're usually disastrous, because one self is expecting the other self. I mean, what a ridiculous burden to place on another human being, that you have to meet my desperate need for completion. And woe betide you if you don't. You know, I'm looking for every little sign that might suggest that you're not the one. Well, what if there isn't a one? Because there are no ones. What is there then? There's complete freedom, and there's just this freedom of open lovingness without demanding that any human being be other than they are. Because what is very obvious with this, Jazz, is no human being can be other than they are. It's not them being who they are, but they are as they are. And no human being is here to complete you.
Because there's no
I mean,
one.
That's hugely liberating, that no other human being can complete you, because there's no one to be completed. And why on earth would you ever put that onto another human being? Why would you make the demand that, well, your job is to make me feel complete? I mean, it's quite hideous, really, what we call normal relationships.
You know, I keep fluctuating from there's no one here to get a lover, end of story. You know, I mean, you can't get a lover if you're not even here. There's no one here.
Oh no.
And then
Oh no, oh no, you won't get a lover, but there can be a lover, no problem at all.
yeah, there could be a lover, but for
I mean,
nobody. There's a lover for nobody, but then
well, the
then
thing is, there isn't a nobody. This is the thing. This is where it gets all a bit tricky, because it sounds like, okay, Tim's a nobody, there's so he can't be in relationship with another human being, because that would be nobody in relationship with somebody, or maybe nobody in relationship with nobody. Well, there isn't any more a nobody than there is a somebody. It's all nonsense. There are human beings who are attracted to other human beings, and they might find they get on really well together and enjoy making love. Well, you can tell whatever story you want about that, but that's as it is. But as soon as there's the demand that you complete me, or that we are an item, I mean, is there anything worse than that? Couples who are an item, and they only speak in plural, as though they have become oneself. I mean, I meet loads of couples who just say we, and I just go, what the hell? I mean, how? Oh God, it actually makes me feel physically sick. I could vomit. It's so nonsensical, and the level of delusion for two human beings to collude together to say we are now one. We work as one entity. Do you fuck? All you do is lie and collude together and to make up elaborate stories about how, oh yeah, we're just so in tune with each other. Fuck off. Sorry, that's a little foible of mine. I just see it as, just toxic. There you go. There is nothing more unhealthy. And there's have you been to couples therapy? Shit. If you have, you know what I'm talking about. And there's this notion of codependency. There aren't any fucking couples that aren't codependent when there's two selves involved. What is a relationship if not codependency. That's exactly what it means. I'll do this for you, but you must reciprocate and do that for me. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. Woe betide you if you fucking break the deal. Do not break the deal. Break the deal, and the repercussions will be immense. So
There's no like healthy relations and in the illusion.
well, I mean, if you make any demands in a relationship, I mean, I really do mean that, about how you have to be in order for me to be happy. You have to be like this in order for me to be okay with this relationship. People wonder why they're unhappy. I mean, self's a bastard. Self's just looking out for itself.
Do you know what the term limerence means?
Pardon?
The term limerence means?
No.
It's just like basically like you idealize a partner and fantasize. But I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you fantasize everything. We fantasize everything. Like,
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
do.
it's all a fantasy. Like the
Yeah.
whole, like when you look at therapy, because I've been a big, therapy person, like trying to heal myself all this time. And
Yeah.
it's all a fucking fantasy. Like the whole being, like not being, the whole illusionary self is it is all an illusion because it's all projecting out. I don't know. It's
Well,
called.
yeah, I mean, it is all illusory. Everything you say you know about another, your most intimate. Think of the ones, or just think of someone who you know intimately, and you've
Yeah.
made all that up.
Yeah, it's all like your own
All of it,
projected.
without exception. None of it bears any relevance to the other human being at all. It's all,
Yours.
you could say, yours. It's not yours, but it's all the human being who has thought those thoughts and felt those feelings. There is no exception to that. Now, if that hits home, I mean, everything takes on a different complexion. Relationships will change irrevocably. They can't not. So this message often gets accused of gaslighting, denying responsibility. In a very perverse way, sort of in a very paradoxical way, is exactly the opposite. So without you, everything is yours.
That's like full
I
responsibility.
mean, how ridiculous is that? So without your sense of self, and therefore there are all the other selves who you're in relationship with, there is no self. So what you've called relationships is, you've made it all up, all of it.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's quite beautiful, but that's why I say the aloneness is that there's no pretense that what I feel about that other person is, or how they are, is theirs. No, there is nothing that's theirs. There is no theirs.
it's just a story in your mind.
There is no theirs without yours.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying, like I keep coming, like I know it's a story, but it's like I keep coming in and out of there's another and there's not another, and then
Yeah.
there's me and there's no me, and then there's this heavy story of this love affair, this grand lover,
Well,
just
remember, you've had that ideal since you were since you were young, certainly since you were a teenager, that there could be the perfect lover. And
yeah,
that'll be the solution. I mean, spiritual seekers just make the lover into some grand lover,
yeah. And
either,
then
God or consciousness or nature or oneness, and I become one with them. But it's the same fantasy of completion. Well, this isn't about completion. This is that there is no one to become complete.
yeah,
There is no completion. There is no possibility. You cannot become complete. What a fucking relief.
Yeah, like when it was like I was trying to get enlightenment, but there was nobody there to get enlightened. And now there's this lover, you know,
Yeah, but
that
yeah,
that
but yeah,
but
but
it's the
have
same
yeah, but
shit.
have a lover, love a lover. There's nothing. This isn't about that. You can't have relationships with human beings. They just won't be you in relationship with them. There will just be love. There's more love in
Yeah,
there's no one in love. There's just
but
love.
there's a story of there's seeking. Not
Now
it's like
the
I fluctuate between the love and then the seeking love, that which is not real love. It's seeking, and it's just like back and forth in this.
what
Oh, it's just this, and then
I mean,
there's
I would never say that it's not real love. There is no real love. There is no love. I mean, love is a wonderful fantasy, but there is
this.
a feeling. No, in relationship. I mean, or being with another human being without demanding, having any expectation, any demand that they are there for you and your completion, that they have become part of you. I mean, it's so dysfunctional.
Yeah, yeah,
All relationships between selves are codependent.
yeah. It's all dysfunction. It's all dysfunctional. Like
But,
the
but again, even that is seen to be lovely because it couldn't be any other way. If there's two human beings who are both seeking the other one to be their savior, I mean, poor. I mean, I feel very strongly, great. I don't know. There's a great sorrow for human beings in relationships and who are desperately trying to make them work. And the more you try to make them work, because there isn't anything to work. You know, there's not two selves in relation who can work it out. I'd still say it's better to talk to each other about it, but don't expect solutions. There aren't any solutions.
you know, I have I
but
can I
but
can relate.
Jazz, don't think for a minute I'm saying don't take a lover. Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'd
Oh
say
no, I
I'd say
know
I'd say get on it now. Get right on it.
life is gonna be life. There's gonna be lovers. There's gonna be all is normal. But that I'm the seek. There's a seeking. There's a destination
Yeah,
I have that comes in. The story's playing really really loud right now, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like this is, and then I could see that it's like, oh my God, since I've been born, I've been wanting this lover to save me and
mm-hmm.
to get me out of my misery and then I go into like, there's nobody there to even be saved. And it's just like this big fluctuation. But this lover piece is where I'm left
Yeah.
like, oh shit, I'm gonna be alone. There's that aloneness you were talking about, and it
Yeah.
scares the shit out of me because I'm a very loving, warm,
Yeah.
touchy person, and
Yeah.
that means a lot to me. And it's
Absolutely. Well, the thing is, that's all completely natural. I mean, this isn't a denial of most human beings love the company of other human beings they like being with. Not all of them. The the ones you enjoy the company of. You know, we're pack animals. I mean, really, what we should do is we should just sit in small groups and pick the fleas off each other and eat them. I always envy the chimps when they're doing that. I watch David Attenborough
me too.
documentaries, and
Me
I see the chimps and thinking, oh yeah, that looks so good. I bet those fleas are delicious.
I know. I just look at it as like I love the caring of it,
Yeah,
like. But yeah, so the aloneness is popping up right now, and it's like so terrifying. But I'm sure like anything else, I'll be fine. But it's just, wow, like how
Yeah.
alone is this thing?
Yeah.
Like it's like, wow, like you can't, it is the depths of aloneness. Like there's nothing more lonelier than this aloneness.
And it can be obvious that you've spent a lifetime trying to escape from this.
Yeah. And that's what I woke up today saying, oh my God, it's all my life.
Yeah.
I didn't want to sit in this aloneness.
No.
It's like shit.
But yeah.
Anyways, I
It's,
loved our talk, and I don't
thanks.
want to take any,
Thanks,
like I
Jen.
want other people to speak, but thank you so much. I might reach out to you privately, but thank you so much.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Catherine put in chat, expecting the other to be your other half. It's my other half.
I mean, yeah,
This is my better half.
And I don't think in our enlightened society today, most couples wouldn't say that. My parents' generation, they all said it. They all said it.
Yeah.
Which there's only, it is slightly better than indoors. But my other half, God.
Razia has a hand up.
Hi, Razia.
Hi, Tim. I think if we look at this aloneness from the human perspective, then we have to look at the fact that as women, we are constantly under pressure to get married, to find a person, to share this life with, that if you don't have someone, that you're not good enough. It's like a cultural thing, that you have to go out there and find someone to be complete. And yeah, so it's something that's inbuilt. I mean, it's something that's like conditioned into us,
Oh, yeah.
that we find another, yeah. And when it comes to aloneness, yeah, like we always say, oh, like I don't want to be alone. I want to go and seek the company of others. And yet when you sit with your aloneness and you embrace it, and suddenly there's no aloneness there anymore. It's just
Well,
peace.
I mean, I would never recommend you to embrace the aloneness. The aloneness can't be embraced.
Yeah, it's just like maybe I'm expressing it wrong. But I mean, to just accept it probably. I don't know.
The aloneness is completely choiceless. You can't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another thing that we have no choice. That the people that go out there and seek the others to complete them, do they have a choice? And that, like you said, that is seeking too. Some seek it with money. Some seek it status-wise. Some want the ideal partner. It's all means of seeking. So I don't know, but yeah, then I don't know. I don't feel lonely. I don't feel lonely anymore. Like initially, when I realized that no one could see the world the way I did, I felt alone. And then I thought about my husband, who is now dead, and I thought, hey, I didn't know him. I just didn't know this person, And I felt that aloneness, and I felt, how could I have lived with this person and not known them?
It's shocking.
And yeah.
If it's revealed suddenly, which occasionally that seems to happen for people, if the aloneness suddenly hits, then it can be really very, very shocking. But quite often, I think it just seeps in, seemingly, in the story. It's like creeps in without you noticing. That's
Yeah.
and then it,
Yeah.
then it doesn't have to be devastating. But it was for me. It was because the emptiness and the empty. I use those words. I mean, there isn't aloneness and there isn't emptiness. Can I just emphasize that? They're just words trying to express that there's nothing outside or inside.
Yeah, because we had got to a stage where he would like want something and I could like know what he wanted, like, you know, like
Yeah.
just by the look on his face or his expression or something like that. And you can like know them in that way. Like, what are their needs? You know, by just reading their facial expression and how they move and how they talk, the tone of their voice and everything. In that way, I felt I knew him, you know, because I mean, there was a stage where we didn't even have to talk. We could just look at each other and know, you know, what the other wanted. But yet, in a way, I suddenly realized that I didn't know him, and I'm never ever going to get the chance. But I mean, like you said, I will still not know him, even if he was alive, you know, because that's just impossible to know another person.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Thanks.
Thanks, Rashi.
Yeah.
Catherine. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, back in the UK, it's been raining all day long and it's probably 16 degrees here.
I know it's chilly. It's chilly, yeah.
Yeah, when you said that the aloneness is completely choiceless, oh my gosh, it's such a huge weight off. Oh my gosh, that's maybe there was this kind of responsibility that's me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you. It's just like
thanks, Catherine.
popped.
Bless you.
Oh, and it's nothing.
No.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, the love that can feel completely overwhelming is that this is all choiceless. I mean, the love in that, it's not a love that you've asked for. No, it's not a love that you would have ever chosen. You wouldn't choose this. You always want to choose something else. But there's no choice. It's
Wow.
yeah. I mean,
it just feels very freeing. It's suddenly like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was never about you, Catherine, isn't
No.
that? Isn't that a miracle?
Yeah, but that's
This
still
whole
hurt.
life,
That's still like, in a way, it's heard but not believed.
yeah,
Because it's so ingrained.
it is so ingrained
that it is our fault, or you know, yeah.
Well, just think how much that human being called Catherine has practiced being me. You know, it's ingrained. You know,
it's ingrained. Yeah.
If you want to train anything, you have to, for it to become a habit, then you have to do it as much as possible. You have to practice, and you could say that's all. Ever since we were 3 years old, all we've done is practice being me.
And we take on pictures that others give us.
And most of what we call ourselves is what others have given us.
Yeah, because we don't know.
Well, when
you're a child,
how could you know it? Yeah, exactly.
You don't know you're anything.
The wonderful thing about me is it's completely innocent. So the innocence of me, because it can sound like, and there was a period where I was quite vehement about me being a complete bastard, and because I was just well aware of how miserable me had made me. Like how miserable me has made you. And so there was, but now it's seen, the innocence of it is so undeniable that it feels so loving, and there's great compassion for most human beings who really do suffer at the hands of themselves, that they suffer under the delusion of being the doer. It's very, you can't help. I'm more moved by it than I ever used to be, because I don't look for a solution anymore. There isn't a solution. It's as it is. I can get pissed off with people who say that they, you know, they can rid a human being of me. Well, there isn't a me to be rid of, so I wouldn't dream of doing that. If you come here to get rid of your me, you're in the wrong place. Because there isn't a me to get rid of. How much more wonderful do you want than that?
So if the connection between two people is just a story, is there any human connection?
Yeah, I just think this is my opinion. If I was being analytical about it, I'm a naturalist is what I am. I just think it's absolutely nature. So human nature is we're very gregarious, social, loving, caring animals. That's, as a species, how have we become so abundant, is we're really very good at getting on with each other, and we really want to be with other human beings. And we love loving naturally. It's not my love and your love, it's just loving. We're loving animals, you know. We're just like dogs. That's why we got on so well with dogs. And we love dogs because they don't have a self, and we can just impose ourselves on our dog. Whereas when there's another self in the other human being, it gets a bit tricky, those relationships. That's why most people prefer relationships with dogs.
I was just thinking, I wonder,
But they don't argue for a start.
I was just thinking as a evolutionary sort of benefit, I wonder if the story of connection can help sort of cement a seeming relationship in that way. But most of the time it doesn't, because it's just, you know, the story is
Now I was really, at one point I was thinking of studying anthropology. So as a late teenager, I was really interested in evolution, particularly human evolution. And it's a bit sad, really, because that's dead as a dodo. Because of course there isn't any evolution. There's nothing evolved. There's nothing evolving. That's just another story. I mean, that's no different to Genesis. If you're a creationist or you're an evolutionist, two opposing stories of how this came to be. Well, what about if this didn't come to be? The stories still exist, but you're not going to invest any. They just don't have any weight anymore, because this didn't come to be as it is. This hasn't come from anywhere. It's not going anywhere. But don't get me wrong, I could still engage with the stories. They don't have any weight when I really want to know how this came to be. Well, when this is not this didn't become how it is, and this won't become how it will be. It just is. And that's full stop. It really is. It's total full stop. There is nothing, anything else than how it is. And the thing about how it is how it is only how it seems to be. You can't know how it is. It just is how it is. And then you try and say how it is, and it can be obvious that you're just bullshitting. And you might like some human beings' bullshit better than others. Some of you quite like mine. But don't think for a moment it's true.
Is it untrue?
No, there's
No.
no, of course, if there's no.
No.
If there's no truth, there's no untruth.
Mm.
It's just lovely human beings singing a song. Just like you might as well, in fact, you're much better off. Go out in the morning and listen to the blackbird. He's got much more to say about this than any non-duality speaker.
Anita has a hand up.
Hi, Anita.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi, Tim. Yeah, I was wondering, you know, there are some birds which are not monogam and some birds are monogam. That's just what's apparently happening. Yeah, I was wondering if so this, yeah, is it easier for you to be in an open relationship?
For me,
Yes. Not that I want a relationship with you, but I was wondering if it's easier.
yeah, I usually get asked these questions, you know, late night in a bar, but not in non-duality meetings. But no. Would it be easier to be in an open relationship than before? Probably. But do I want to be in one? No. I'm you know no. I would prefer it to be in a relationship with one human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean that doesn't mean anything.
Oh. Oh, thank you.
I just think for me, the thing about relationships is if you have relationships with other human beings, they're going to be pretty sure that they have a self, and they're going to be pretty adamant about imposing that they know who they are and they know what they want, and they know how they want you to be. Now that's difficult. I guess I'd be, if I'm saying personally how it would be for me, I'd be much less likely to compromise. I would say compromise myself. I know that's all contradictory and paradoxical because I'm not compromising myself, but I wouldn't, there it is. I'd be much less likely to lie in order to save the relationship. Now, most relationships are based on lying in order to, you know, we could say mild lying, but at least trying to appease the other, to not upset them and for them to get what they want out of it. I guess I'd be much less likely to do that. I don't know. The thing is about saying anything about how we would behave in a situation, it's all nonsensical, because the truth is none of us know. I know you like to think you know how you would react and how you would be in relation to any other human being, but you don't know that.
No, I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
None of us know that at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Life shows us every day that we don't know ourselves.
Yes.
It's very, and what self has to do is deny that information that's constantly being shown, that you, oh, I thought, I don't know what happened there. I didn't think I'd react like that. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And there's the freedom. I mean, that's how free life is.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's amazing. Yeah.
It is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the freedom. I mean, this is wild. This is totally unknowable and free. You know, and what self is always trying to do is box it in and know and control and manage, and it's all for nothing. And yet I now look at it as there's a real compassion, because self can't do otherwise, because self's very afraid of the wildness and freedom of life can just appear. It's totally at random. Yeah.
Thanks. There's a lot of recognition and there's freedom. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Anita. Has anyone else got anything they'd like to ask? Otherwise, I'll plug again that you can go to my website and see the information for Berlin, which is the second weekend in October. If anybody would like to come to that. No, I haven't been to Berlin since I went to Gangaji. So there you go. I told you about that the other week. Could be slightly different than last time. Not her again. So I'm looking forward to that. Well, thanks very much for coming, everyone. Thanks, Darren.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Lovely to see everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.